Okay, so we are going to walk through how to create advising notes in Starfish and go through a tip sheet on what type of information you should be putting in Starfish. So to get started, the first thing we're going to do is go to MyPath, and then we're going to go to PeopleSoft and click on the Classic Home tile. And then over here at the bottom of this menu, you're going to see My Starfish. So you're going to click on that. And it takes a few seconds to redirect here. And then when this home panel comes up, you're going to go over here and search for students. And you can search by ID if you have one, but again, I don't think I wrote the ID number down. So I'm going to pull up our friend Skylar again. And if you type in first name, last name, it'll come up here and you can click on her name. And then you get her kind of her dashboard. So you're going to click on notes and you're going to get this little pop-up that says create a note. Under note type, if you just click this little down arrow, we're going to click on general advising notes. It's important to remember here that whatever you type is visible to the student, as well as faculty and staff that have access to Starfish. So you want to make sure that you capture the conversation, but you don't put in, personal opinion or, anything that, you don't want documented as part of the student's academic profile here. So best practice is we do these as the new path appointment is over. So it'll default to today's date, but if for some reason, the appointment was yesterday or the day before, assign the date to the date that you actually had the meeting. And then in the subject, just for consistency's sake, we're going to do new student path appointment. So we'll use that for all of our notes. And then you're just going to type the notes in here, and we'll come back to best practices in a second. But you just type, anything that you need to put in here. And then when you're finished, you're going to click send a copy of the note to yourself. So we can't forward this directly to the advisor, but we can send the notes to ourselves. Once you get the note, all you have to do is hit forward and send that on to the advisor that you assign to the student. So if the student is going to be accounting and they're going to be assigned to Natasha Maddox, once you receive the notes in Outlook from yourself, hit forward on those notes and just let Natasha know that you just met with this student, you completed their new student path appointment, and here's a copy of the notes from the session. That way she'll be notified that she has a new student. She can read the notes from your session. She can check the schedule. She can reach out to the student, whatever she needs to do after the fact, but that will be her notification that you saw her student today. So you put the notes in here, and when you're finished, you just hit submit, and that'll save the notes and send a copy to you. So I'm going to back out of that for now because we're not really going to save any notes. The other thing that's important in Starfish is we want to upload the 2-year plan and we want to upload the career assessment results. So either before you do the notes or after you do the notes, you just come over here to File, you're going to browse, and you're going to find the 2 documents that you've saved. So you'll have to scan those in, save them to your computer so that you can upload them. Once we have the 2-year plans as an editable PDF, that'll be easier, but we don't have those initially. So you'll handwrite on that, scan it in, save it, upload it, And then the same thing with the Holland with the career results. You want to mark choice 1, 2, or 3. Make sure you write the student's name on there and the date, and then upload that. And then for consistency's sake, we'll have a naming convention. So if it will be Skylar Logan AA 2-year plan, and then Skylar Logan career assessment results. That way, when the faculty advisor goes to the student files here in the overview, they can really very clearly see what information has been uploaded. The other thing I want to go over real quick, I'm going to send this to you all as well, is just what type of information should you put into Starfish. Really, we've got 4 different things. First is career assessment conversation. So just really briefly recap what the Holland and ONET said and what impact it had on their program of study decision. General conversation details, anything that you think their advisor may need to know when they go to register them in a couple months. Anything that would help them carry on the conversation so that the student doesn't feel like I'm starting from square one, I've got to tell somebody all this information again. What can you capture for them to make that next appointment even easier? Especially things like advice that you may have given them about online versus face-to-face classes, in wanting to enroll in a lot of hours, talking about the difference between diplomas and degrees. Anything that you think would be helpful for the next advisor to see would be great. We don't have to write paragraphs and paragraphs of information here. Most of these notes will just be, a couple sentences, to hit the highlights. The next one is program applicability. This probably won't come up as much for us since we're looking at first semester schedule. But if a student wants to take a class that's not part of their program of study, we need to justify that in the advising notes. Financial aid will not pay for classes that are not part of their program plan. And so this is our way to document why the student wanted to take that class and why we put them in that class. The first example I could think of is FYE is not required for students who are not working on an associate's degree. But if you've got a student who is really nervous and says they're not sure how they're going to do it, and they want help with studying, they want help with time management, FYE would be a great class for that student. It's not required for a diploma, but it could be recommended. And so if we just put a little note in there about why we think that class is important for that student, we're covered from the financial aid side. And the other issue that could come up is if you are enrolling students in a non-MCTC course. Each semester we pull a list of our students who are taking classes not through MCTC, and it is helpful if we're able to go to Starfish to see why. So on the enrollment trail, we can see who enrolled the student, and then from the Starfish notes, we should be able to see why you made that choice. And there are certainly times when that's what's best for the student, and that's okay. We just want to make sure that we have it documented. In this example, we have 2 examples. One, the student works in Northern Kentucky. They want to take college algebra online through Gateway because they know they can run over during lunch and get help with tutoring or meet the instructor or whatever the case may be. That's a perfectly legitimate reason as to why they would want to take that class through Gateway and not through us. The other example is a student has taken econ with Tara a couple times, has not been successful, and they just want to try a different instructor. We only have one econ instructor, and so if they don't want to take it with Tara, then we need to register them with another class or with another college. So those are examples of, at the end of the day, it's the student's call, and we need to make sure that we're helping them make the decision. But if they're choosing to take a class with another KCTCS school, we just need to be sure that we document that in Starfish. So I will send this out to you all along with when I send the video, and if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Thanks.